So now I'm going to work on something that's kind of a gimmick, I guess. So what you see here is not a simple view controller. To prove that, I'm going to hold on my mouse and drag towards the right. And you can see there's an edge of this view controller and a black background. Now I'm not letting go of my mouse. I'm going to drag to the opposite direction. Still dragging. Notice anything? There's no edge on the other side. That's because this is actually a page in a page view controller. So if I drag and let go and do the same thing again, you'll see the edge because there's only two pages, and that was the left page and this is the right page. But we have an issue here. Our rightful place of the title, I guess, is replaced by this button that will give us the arena list. But you know, for each page here, I do want to display their title, but I don't want it to be part of the content. So in order to do that, I'm going to add back our title here and make it look good for each of our page. So to do that, we're going to this page view controller and replace our little dude here. I'm going to replace it with good old view controller. Give it some height, maybe 53. And we still want our button, so it's going to be here. Let's configure it, get back our dude, make it center horizontally, and give it space to the top. Okay, so the dude is back. I'm going to connect it with the code that it was connected to. Yep, report name button. And see that our report name button is still function as expected. Okay, that's not good. Select, show arena collection. That looks like what's missing here. All right. So now that's function as expected. And now we can add our title. So the title is going to be right beneath it. And of course, we'll have some constraints such as center horizontally, maybe a distance to the bottom being 0. I don't know if that'll look good. If it doesn't, we'll adjust it. Not so good. Let's give it, I don't know, 8. I'm gonna change its font. So going forward, the button will be the name of the arena, And the title down here will display which section of the report we're looking at. And I'm just going to tweak it for one more time. Good enough. So let's write some code for it. I'm going to grab a reference to this title. Probably name it something along the lines of section title label. And then the thing I want to do the most is actually change its content. To do that, we're going to take advantage of the fact that we are a page view controller, and page view controller is notified when a page is changed by its delegate. Since we're subclassing, we can make ourselves the delegate. I think. So if you look at the documentation for UILabel delegate, I happen to have it open. We have page view controller will transition to view controllers. I believe that will give us whatever the current view controller is. So let's try it out. Well, of course, I need to write my mark first. Page view controller will transition. And for now, we're just going to log the controllers. Okay, I'm going to run it. So that didn't work. The reason being, I forgot to actually assign myself as the delegate. So okay, let's try that again. Swipe, 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 swipe. So it's giving us a new view controller each time we swipe. And that's what we want, because we know that the view controller has a title, and we can set our title label to the title. So section title label. Okay. So we can say if let pending view controller equals pending. If we have one here, we'll do so I'm getting an error. Let's see what it is real quick. So this is not an optional type. I'm a little surprised by that. I guess we can be more specific. Arena report controller. That's what we have. Arena view controller, of course. Port. Okay. So as you can see, when I drag, the title disappears. That's a good sign because that tells me the title is being updated and each page has a empty title. So there's a couple more small details we need to take care of. One is we want to actually give those give those view controllers titles. We can forget about the view for now and focus on the code. If I go to our source, if I can find it, page source, it's in this class. You can see there are two sources. Let's see, a win collection controller, a loss collection controller. So I'm gonna go give each of them a title. Victory view, and non-victory view. It's non-victory instead of, I don't know, failure or defeat, because sometimes you can have a tie, and we ignore the the case of the ties and group them together with losses. So that's that. And then another thing I need to take care of is the initial view controller. I think this might just work because the initial page view controller, wait, another thing I need to take care of is to display the title for the initial view controller, and we're going to do that in our page view controller, where we set a initial controller as the win view controller. After we do that, we're going to also assign the title section. Okay. All right, so as you can see, we have our victory view, non-victory view, victory view, non-victory view. So that's working. However, that looks a little plain. It's really a little too abrupt when the title just switched between one from one to another. Of course, it'll get better when there's actually content in our report views, because you can sort of correlate the switching between the views with the change of the title. But still, I'd like to improve that. And we're going to improve it by adding some animations to the labels. The sort of thing we can do is make the title sort of disappear to the left and then appear to the right when we swipe left. I'm going to add a method that sets the text for our label and animates it. Set section label. Sorry, I wrote NSString because I've been writing Objective-C all day. So we're not going to do anything fancy, just say, so we're not going to do anything fancy, just use regular animation. You have u.animate. I'm going to need the completion handler. We need a duration, we need the animations and completions. Awesome, this is exactly what we want. Let's give it like 0.2, something here, something here. Okay. So we want our label to disappear into the left, into its left, and appear from its right with the new title. And then I guess we can do this. We're going to remember the original frame for the title. Section title label.frame. And then when animation starts, we're going to create a new rectangle based on the original. We're going to shift it by, I don't know, 10 pixels, 10 points, I suppose. And we're gonna reduce the labels alpha to 0, and of course give it a new frame. What is wrong now? Oh, of course, good point. Alright, and when this animation is finished, we're gonna do basically the same thing again, except this time we're gonna sort of reverse the situation here. We're gonna create yet another rectangle, and we're gonna say the origin of x is 10 to the right. We're gonna give our section the new frame, we're gonna give our section the new title. And then we're gonna set this frame to the original frame. Also, wait, it's alpha. So, to review, we want the label to disappear into the left and then reappear from the right. So we create our destination for the disappearance, and then we assign to it as part of the animation. Also, as part of the animation, we transition its alpha to 0. When this is finished, we will do another animation that basically redo everything else. And I guess I'm started the recount a little bit earlier because we actually need the animation code here. We have the right indentation to help us, I guess. View, animate, duration, animations here. With completion, we'll say nothing. So also there's something wrong with our original frame here, because the original frame doesn't exist. It's actually original rect. Oh no, that didn't work. Of course, the reason it didn't work is because although we created the method, we didn't actually call it. So instead of assigning the title straight up, I'm going to say set section label as pending view controller dot title. Also, the title is optional, so just go here and make this an optional. As you can see, we got our desired effect sort of, yeah, I would say that's not bad. Yeah, the only issue is when I actually swipe right, the title still fades to the left. And let's think about how to change that. So the only thing to make this reverse, the only thing I need to do is reverse these two numbers, correct? What if I say instead of disappear to x minus 10, we go to x plus 10, and then when it comes back out, it goes from x minus 10. Yep. Now it looks like it's disappearing to the right and reappearing from the left. So what we really need is when we swipe left, we get our first animation, and when we swipe right, we got our second animation. And to do that, I will have to think about it. Let's take a look at our documentation here. We've got will transition to view controllers, did finish animating, spin, location, supported orientation. That's it. So looks like we have to rely on our own knowledge of the layout of our controllers to control the animation. And that's a little unfortunate because that means we have to expose more structure of the data source to our view controller, but that is like necessary evil since all this content controller doesn't have any logic orders anyways. I'm very okay with that. So so let's see. So what we can do here is give it one more parameter that says to, wait, not here. So what we can do here is give it another parameter, animate to the left, and it's a boolean. And in here we can say, okay, the starting offset is 10 points times animates, if it animates to the left. Okay, so starting offset is 10 times, how about minus 10 times integer made from our animate to the left parameter. So when we want to animate to the left, we set the start offset to -10. Of course, we'll have an ending. Well, this is not really the start offset. It's more like disappearing offset. Okay, sure. And we have appearing offset, which is the opposite. And down here we say this appearing offset, and here we say appearing offset, and finally we say, oh, this pending view controller if you are, according to our page source, the when view controller, that means the when view controller is appearing, so we just swap from the loose controller, which is on the right, to the winning. That requires a right swap. So when that happens, we set the label and animate it with animate to the left being false. Otherwise, we animate to the left. How about that? Of course, something is wrong here. CG float is not int. That's quite okay, because I can simply declare that these are CG float indeed. I made a mistake. Of course, when animate to the left is 0, that makes the offset 0. That's not good. What we really want is, so really we only need one offset, and then its sign is set by our operators. Okay, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, to the left, to the right, and that's it. Good night.